Hello everyone, welcome to Promine's Tip of the Week. This week's tip is actually a suggestion from one of our clients, Esther. We'll be going over dynamic blocks this week, and dynamic blocks are very similar to normal AutoCAD blocks. The only difference is that these can be changed, and the changes are based on specific parameters that you can set up. So starting off, if you just press on Control-3, so I just turned off the toolbar that I had, turn it back on and go into Civil, you'll see that there's a few dynamic blocks that are already set up for you by AutoCAD. I'm going to show you how to use dynamic blocks and how to edit them and how they change based on your own configuration. So if you press on the international speed limit sign here, for example, is a little bit too large, and if you click once on the block, you'll see a little triangle on the bottom right. You'll see here that you have quite a few options. These options determine what the dynamic block looks like in different states. So if we go on end all limits, this will be the sign that's designated to show that this is the end of all limits, and minimum, and maximum, and finally the maximum speed is 80. Now if you type in edit, which is to go into your block editor, and then you press on OK, you'll see here that you can change quite a few options within your block. So if you notice where it says speed limit, this is actually an attribute and it's not directly a text of 80. So when you change this value, you'll be able to change it in the block itself. Now for this week's tip, we'll only be going over the visibility states and how to create them. And then next week, we'll be going over how to create dynamic blocks. And possibly the week after that, we'll go into more detail about how to make specific edits so that the geometric constraints are linked to the values that show up in your dynamic block. So if you press on New, it'll give you some options on the visibility states. You can hide all existing objects in a new state, show all existing objects, and so on. Then you can also rename these so that when you see them, when you insert your block, you'll have the name which describes how the change is going to appear. So if we rename this to all limits gone, press OK, and then close our block editor, save our changes. If you notice now, the change we made will show up here. So all limits gone. Now, again, this is a very basic tutorial of how to use dynamic blocks. You can even, for example, if you have a manhole and you press on this, you'll have quite a few different options here based on the type of dynamic block that you have. For this specific dynamic block, you can increase the size just by clicking on that little triangle. Another example is this parking block. Now this one is very useful in that you can duplicate the number of parking spaces that you have just by clicking here. So say we have 3 spaces, it'll create 3 parking spaces for you in plan view. So that pretty much sums up a few useful functionalities within dynamic blocks. It shows you how to use them. And next week we'll be going over how to create these dynamic blocks. So that concludes this week's Promine Tip of the Week. If you have any questions or suggestions for another topic, please send them to us through the comment section below. Thank you for watching.